There are a lot of things that you should know before you visit the Japanese onsen and rules that you have to follow while you're there. And if you haven't watched it yet, you should check out my video on the 6 things that you should know, 6 rules that you should know before entering the Japanese onsen. It can be a really great time, super relaxing, but there's a lot of rules that you need to follow while you're in them in Japan. So my family and I were looking for like a nice weekend getaway, and we decided to go up to the mountains. Travel up to the mountains, go to an onsen, relax, stay at a hotel, and hang out, have a good time. And one of the great ways to relax while you're in Japan is to visit an onsen. Best time to visit an onsen for us, we found at this location, was at nighttime because there wasn't really much other people there. You can just get in, relax, heat up in the nice Japanese onsen in the winter time, have a good time. It's great. It's great. And you don't have to worry about too much other people there. Sometimes there's 1 or 2 other people when it's like nighttime, but not really a big deal. And I was expecting to have a very good, relaxing evening. However, that's not how the rest of this evening turned out. It turned into an anxiety-filled mess, waiting for disaster to strike, even more so than it just had. But let me get to it. It had been a really, really long day. I had driven around all day, went out into the sun a lot, came back into the car, went out back in the sun. I was exhausted. I had that like feeling when you're in the sun too much and like you just kind of get sick. So it was time to visit the onsen. And on our way to the onsen, my wife and her mom had forgotten something, so they had to go back before we entered the building, and I was like super exhausted. I wasn't gonna walk back and forth, so I just thought, I'll just go in by myself. I know what to do. I've been here before. I was here the day before, you know, exact same place. So I took my shoes off and I put them in the little cubby, and I think I was like walking, looking down or something like that. I'm not sure. I was just super exhausted, so I was just like this. Probably looked like a zombie. I don't even have any memory after I put my shoes up and then they left. I put my shoes up, they left. Don't remember anything from there. All the way until I was taking my clothes off in the changing room, and I put everything in the locker and closed my bag and everything like that, and headed into the onsen looking for a relaxing time. So as I go in, there's these like short walls where the shower is, and I could hear someone showering. So I was like, oh, okay, you know, someone else is here. Kind of a bummer. Hope it was by myself, but you know, that's cool too. So I came in there and I grabbed the little shower and I start to rinse my body, you know, I'm putting soap in my hand, and there's this dude like this, like above the wall. So I immediately thought, that's pretty weird. Why is this guy looking at me? Very uncomfortable, you know, so, and this is all within a half a second, and so I was just kind of like, and I start looking up. As I look up at this like orb floating above the shower wall, I realized like, it's not a dude, it's an old woman, a very old woman. As I realized that, and I'm sitting here naked with the shower pointed on me with soap in my hand, I look up and I can only see her from about right here up. So I can't see anything. All I can see is her face, and her eyes got huge, like circles. Her mouth turned into a circle, and no longer was I confused at what was going on. I knew this lady must have been in the wrong spot or something, but immediately she starts woo, woo, screaming, and I was like, oh my god, you know, like, that's horrifying. She wasn't saying anything, she was just screaming. She looked like I was going to like kill her or something. She looked horrified. I felt like horrible, but I thought, oh my god, this lady must be confused. She's in the boys' room, and I know this is the boys' room because I was here yesterday. Same room, you know, so I was like, oh dude, she walked into the wrong spot. So I immediately put the shower head up and I ran the other way, and I like was covering myself and kind of taking off, and as I get like halfway out, I was like, in Japanese, I said, oh, isn't this the boys' room? You know, like, you know, kind of maybe you're in the wrong spot or something like that, and kind of also trying to let her know like, I'm not a creep. I didn't just like come in here if I was in the wrong room, you know, but maybe she was confused. And so I was like, oh no, isn't this the boys' room? And she's still screaming. I open the door, close it, I run to my locker, I unlock it really quickly, I throw on my clothes, and as I'm getting dressed in my clothes, I was like, dude, I was definitely here yesterday. Like, I'm not in the wrong, but let me check. And I looked down the hallway, and I knew the best way to check was to see the colors, because I know that it's a little bit different than in like the States where we have like male and female colors and stuff like that. I know that Japan views red as a female color. And so if I saw red, I was in the girls' room. And if I saw blue, I was in the boys' room. But again, I was here yesterday, so I knew I was fine. I look down the hall and the curtain is red. And I can see the kanji for women. And I knew I had seriously messed up. I was in the female onsen, naked, with an old woman, scared out of her mind. I thought I gave her a heart attack. So I immediately was like, oh my God. And my heart like sank into my stomach. And I felt like almost like crying. Like I was so embarrassed and I was scared. Like this lady's gonna call the police or something like that. She's gonna come running out here and beat me with like a bottle of shampoo. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I was just not good at that moment. Immediately I was like, I had messed up. And I remembered what I had said leaving, like, oh, isn't this the boys' room or something like that? And so now I'm thinking, maybe she thinks she's wrong. So I was like, oh no, so I kind of yelled back like, oh, sorry. Turns out this is the girls' room. You're okay. Threw the rest of my clothes on, got everything in my bag, and I ran out there, kind of looked both ways, did this thing. And then I quickly turned, because I still have like a little bit of soap on me and I didn't even shower yet. Quickly turned, went into the boys' room where they probably heard everything. Went in there, took my clothes off really quick, shoved it in the locker, took like world's quickest shower with just like my hands, and I was like, oh my God, I want to get out of here, I'm scared. No one in the boys' room, so luckily no one asked me weird questions of like, did you go in the wrong room or something like that. It was just the old woman in that room, which is next to it, but you can't see, there's like a little ledge, yeah. But anyway, I quickly got ready to leave, left, went back to the room, and was waiting for like Japanese police or the staff to show up and start looking for me, because there's a foreigner on the loose running into the female onsen. And I was panicking. I was trying to play like Animal Crossing, just something to like calm me down and distract me from what had just happened. I couldn't. Eventually my wife and her mom came back home, and they had noticed that eventually my wife and her mom came back to the room, and I had opened the door for them, and I just was scared. And like my wife said that she didn't know that I could turn that color of white. Like I was literally the color white. She said I just looked like I had seen ghosts or something like that. There was no color in my skin. I was just completely like, and so when she looked at me, she knew something was wrong, and she immediately was like, oh no, like what happened? I was like, I gotta tell you something. This thing happened. And I explained the whole story to them. They laughed so hard. They laughed like crazy. And I was like, oh no, like this is too silly. I feel embarrassed. Like I feel like such a doofus, like, because there was one thing I forgot about this place. The two rooms are different, and they change them every day. It's a different room. That way you can enjoy the one and the other. It's like a stone and a wood room. I forgot that. And I wasn't paying any attention when I walked in because I was just so tired and ready to take a bath. Honestly, I didn't even want to be in the bath that long. I just wanted to go home and go to sleep. I was really tired. I wanted some water. And so they had explained that to me, and I had remembered kind of as it happened, but I was like, yep, I forgot. And yeah, the rest of the night went fine. No police showed up looking for me. They even said that they saw the old woman in the bath, and they just said good evening. You know, she didn't mention anything. Everybody seemed okay, and no problems have happened since. I've never gotten contacted by anybody or anything like that, so thank God that it was who it was in there, and thank God things didn't get worse. I think that the situation could have been a lot worse if there was many people in there, or if I had walked into the changing room while people were changing, because then maybe I would have just looked like a huge pervert or something like that. I did, you know, just made an honest mistake, and luckily it was an old woman in there who was kind of, not okay, of course, that I was in there, but she wasn't going to, like, pursue me with a soap bottle trying to beat me up or something like that. So I think I got pretty, like, lucky, and there was a bit of understanding there. I'm obviously a foreigner. Maybe she just assumed I couldn't read it or something like that. Who knows? But yeah, that's my story about the Japanese onsen. Please pay attention to which room you're going in. Take my advice from making that mistake. It was not a fun experience. It was just a lot of anxiety and fear afterwards, and just a huge amount of embarrassment. I mean, anyway, take my advice, pay attention, and if you want some more rules on the Japanese onsen, please watch my video here or at the end of this video about the 6 rules, technically 7, there's a little bonus one in there, but yeah, basically 6. 6 rules on the Japanese onsen that you should follow before going in, and thank you for watching. Please hit the like if you liked it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content in and about Japan. Yeah, let me know if you liked the video. Thank you guys, and also, you know what, tell me if you had any Japanese onsen mistakes. I would love to hear from your guys' story. We can kind of maybe relate on these embarrassing mistakes or something like that. It'd be really funny to hear yours, and we can trade stories back and forth. I think it'd be fun to know if anything happened with you guys, or anything that you're curious about, feel free to ask. All right, well, see you next time. Thanks for watching.